Have you ever felt like the more you try to find peace, the more it seems to slip away? Like you're doing everything right, working hard, being kind, staying strong, yet still carrying a quiet heaviness inside? You're not alone. Life today moves so quickly. We're constantly surrounded by noise, on our phones, in our thoughts, even in the stories we tell ourselves. Somewhere in the middle of all this movement, we forget how to be still. How to simply be. And that stillness, that quiet clarity, is where peace begins. In this video, we're not here to preach or teach. We're here to share, gently, truthfully, 7 timeless principles from Buddhist teachings that many have found helpful in finding peace, not just in meditation halls, but in ordinary, everyday life. These aren't rules. They're reminders. Simple, subtle shifts in how we see ourselves, others, and the world around us. Things like letting go of what we can't control, learning to truly listen. Or understanding that compassion starts with how we speak to ourselves. And no, you don't have to be a Buddhist to find meaning in these ideas. You only need an open heart, and a moment to pause. So if your soul has been craving stillness, or your mind has been longing for a softer way to move through this world, then you're in the right place. This is not just a video. It's a quiet invitation to return home to yourself. And if at any point you feel this message resonates with you, I invite you, gently, to leave a like, or share it with someone who might need a little peace too. Let's begin. Buddhist Principle 1, Letting Go, the Freedom of Release. Have you ever held on to something so long, that it started holding on to you? A memory. A grudge. A regret you visit every night before sleep. Letting go is not a concept we simply read about in books or hear in sermons. It's an experience. And for many of us, especially as we get older, it becomes a quiet struggle we carry in our hearts, unspoken, but ever present. In Buddhism, the principle of non-attachment, or letting go, is not about giving up everything. It's not about abandoning love, or turning away from the people or things that once mattered. It's about understanding that clinging, grasping so tightly to what must change, only brings suffering. Imagine holding a handful of sand. The tighter you grip it, the more it slips through your fingers. But if you hold it gently, it rests peacefully in your palm. That is the nature of life. It flows. It changes. And when we try to stop it, we suffer. There's a story of a woman who carried a stone in her pocket for 20 years. It was given to her by someone she loved deeply, someone she had lost. Every day, she touched that stone to remember. But over time, she wasn't remembering love, she was remembering pain. Her sorrow became the stone. One day, she stood by a quiet lake. She took out the stone. She looked at it. And then, she let it go. The sound it made as it hit the water was barely audible. But inside her, something broke, and something healed. Letting go is not weakness. It's courage. It's choosing to live with open hands instead of clenched fists. For many of us, the hardest thing to release is the story we've told ourselves, I should have done more. I should have known. If only. But what if we said instead, I did my best. And now, I choose peace. This is what the Buddha invites us to understand, not just intellectually, but in the silence of our hearts. The past cannot be undone. But our relationship with it can be softened. Letting go doesn't erase love. It honors it, by allowing it to become light instead of a burden. And so I ask you gently. What have you been carrying that no longer serves you? Is it time to let it rest? This isn't a lesson. It's a reminder that peace isn't found in controlling everything. It's found in releasing what we no longer need to carry. If this message touches something within you, if it brings a little clarity, or maybe just a moment of stillness, feel free to leave a like, or share it with someone who might also need to hear it today. There is no right time to let go. Only the moment you're ready. And maybe, that moment is now. Buddhist Principle 2, Mindfulness, the art of being truly here. When was the last time you were truly present? Not thinking about yesterday's mistake. Not worrying about tomorrow's to-do list. Just here, with this breath, this sound, this moment. For many people, especially in midlife and beyond, the mind becomes like a room filled with echoes. Memories of choices made. Responsibilities that never quite end. The faces of those we miss, and the silence of those we've grown distant from. In all of that noise, we forget the one thing that's always been available to us, the present. Buddhism teaches sati, or mindfulness, the practice of fully arriving in the here and now. But mindfulness is not just a technique or a trend. It's a way of honoring life itself. You see, the present moment is not small. It holds everything, the warmth of the cup in your hand, the sound of birds outside your window, the ache in your chest you never talk about. To be mindful is not to push those things away, but to notice them, gently, with kindness. There's a Zen saying, when you walk, just walk. When you eat, just eat. It sounds simple, but how often do we eat while scrolling? Walk while replaying arguments in our heads? Even breathe without noticing? An elderly man once told me, I spent half my life running from pain, and the other half trying to hold on to joy. I missed the middle. That middle is the moment. The breath. The now. Mindfulness is not about fixing your life. It's about experiencing it. With eyes open. With heart open. With full attention. It's in that awareness that healing begins. Because when we are present, we stop running. And when we stop running, we can finally listen, to ourselves, to others, to the silence between. You don't need to meditate in a cave to practice mindfulness. You can begin right now. Feel your feet on the floor. The air on your skin. The weight of your chest as you breathe. Right now is enough. And if this message gently wakes something inside you, if you felt even a moment of quiet recognition, consider leaving a like, or passing this along to someone else who might need to remember how to come home to the present. We can't change the past. The future hasn't arrived. But this moment is already here, waiting for you to notice. Buddhist Principle 3, Compassion, Loving without conditions. Have you ever wished someone could truly understand what you're going through, without trying to fix you? Just sit beside you. Listen. Maybe say nothing at all, but still make you feel less alone. That is compassion. In Buddhist teachings, compassion, karu, is not pity. It's not feeling sorry for someone. It's the deep, quiet willingness to feel with another. To be present with their suffering without judgment, without running away, and without needing to offer answers. For many of us, especially as we grow older, our hearts carry a quiet ache, things we never said, wounds never fully healed, relationships that faded in the silence. Sometimes, what we most long for, is not to be saved, but to be seen. True compassion begins there, not with trying to change others, but with being willing to stay. To sit in the dark with someone and say, you don't have to go through this alone. There's a story in the Buddhist tradition about a woman named Kisa Gautami. After losing her only child, she was overcome with grief and begged the Buddha to bring her child back. He told her to bring him a mustard seed, from a home that had never known sorrow. She searched, but every home had its own story of loss. In time, her grief softened, not because it disappeared, but because she realized she wasn't alone. That's the power of compassion. It doesn't erase pain, but it makes it bearable, because now, someone is bearing it with you. But perhaps the hardest form of compassion is the one we offer to ourselves. We speak harshly to our own hearts. We carry shame, regret, and guilt like heavy stones. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us, until we learn to meet our own pain with kindness, we will struggle to meet the pain of others. So today, may I ask gently, can you speak to yourself the way you would to a dear friend? Can you hold your own suffering the way you would cradle a crying child? This is where compassion begins, not out there, but in here. And if these words reach you, if they touch a tender part of your heart, please consider leaving a like, or sharing this message with someone who may need a little gentleness today. Because compassion is not just a feeling. It's how we hold each other, in the quiet moments we need it most. Buddhist Principle 4, Impermanence, Embracing Change. Why does it hurt so much, when something we love changes, or ends? A familiar place closes. A friendship fades. A parent forgets your name. We know that nothing lasts forever, and yet, we still feel the ache every time life reminds us. Buddhism teaches a simple but powerful truth: everything is impermanent. Anicca, the law of change, is not just philosophy. It's the quiet rhythm of our lives. Seasons shift. Faces age. Bodies weaken. Moments pass. But knowing this doesn't mean we don't grieve. It doesn't mean we smile through the heartbreak or pretend we're not scared. It means we begin to see change not as an enemy, but as a natural part of being alive. There's a story of a king who asked the wisest monks in his land for a message, something that would bring him peace in times of sorrow and keep him humble in times of joy. They gave him just 4 words. This too shall pass. At first, he found it meaningless. But over time, those words became his anchor. In celebration, he remembered not to cling. In despair, he remembered not to give up. Because everything, every high, every low, was only passing through. Impermanence doesn't mean we stop loving. It means we love more deeply, because we know it won't last. We speak the kind words now. We forgive today. We savor this sunrise, this conversation, this breath, knowing it will never come again in exactly the same way. And yes, change can be terrifying. Especially when it means letting go of what we've known for decades. A role. A partner. A version of ourselves. But maybe, change isn't always loss. Maybe it's the invitation to begin again. So if you are facing something that feels like an ending, know this. Endings are not failures. They are thresholds. And on the other side, something new waits quietly, just beyond your fear. If this message brings you a sense of calm, or simply helps you breathe a little softer, please consider leaving a like, or sharing it with someone who might need a gentle reminder that nothing stays, and that's okay. Everything changes. But within that change, we discover who we truly are. Buddhist Principle 5, the middle way, walking the path of balance. Have you ever felt torn between extremes, between giving too much and shutting down completely, between holding on and walking away? Life often feels like a constant swing of the pendulum. Too much. Too little. All or nothing. And in that tension, we lose ourselves. The Buddha understood this. After years of practicing harsh self-denial, starving his body, rejecting comfort, he realized that suffering didn't end by punishing the body, or by drowning in pleasure. Peace, he discovered, lies not at the ends of extremes, but in the middle way. The middle way isn't mediocrity. It's not about settling for less. It's about balance. Wisdom. Learning how to live without being pulled apart inside. It means we can care for others, without abandoning ourselves. We can seek beauty and comfort, without being trapped by craving. We can strive to do our best, without measuring our worth by achievement. There's an old parable. A musician asked the Buddha how to live well. The Buddha asked, "What happens if your lute string is too tight?" "It will break," the man said. "And if it's too loose?" "It won't play." The Buddha nodded, "The same is true of your mind. Balance does not always look exciting. It's quiet, steady, gentle. It shows up when we say no with kindness. When we rest without guilt. When we stop chasing and start listening. For many in midlife, the struggle is real. We've spent years striving, sacrificing, proving. And now, maybe we just want to breathe. To find that middle ground where we no longer feel we must be everything for everyone. So what does balance look like for you? Maybe it's waking up without reaching for your phone. Maybe it's saying, "That's enough for today." Maybe it's letting silence speak louder than opinions. The middle way is not about being perfect, it's about being whole. And if these words help you feel just a little more centered, a little more seen, feel free to leave a like or share this with someone walking their own tightrope between too much and not enough. Balance is not a destination. It's a way of walking. One step. One breath. One gentle choice at a time. Buddhist Principle 6, Gratitude, the Quiet Power of Contentment. When was the last time you paused, and truly felt thankful, not because everything was perfect, but simply because you were alive to notice? Not thankful for winning. Not for getting ahead. But for something small. Something quiet. The warmth of a morning sunbeam. The sound of your loved one's laughter. A moment of stillness in your chest. In Buddhism, gratitude is not a reaction, it's a way of seeing. It's the understanding that contentment is not found by having more, but by needing less. We live in a culture that teaches us to want more success, more stuff, more approval. But that hunger never ends. And it often leaves us feeling like we are always one step behind joy. The Buddha taught that contentment is the greatest wealth. And gratitude is how we begin to see the riches already within and around us. There's a simple story told in many Buddhist traditions. A monk, walking barefoot through a village, receives only a single bowl of rice that day. A passerby asks, "Aren't you hungry?" The monk smiles gently and replies, "Yes. But I am also alive. And the rice is warm." That moment of presence, of recognizing the gift, even in something small, is the beginning of peace. Gratitude doesn't erase pain. But it creates space for something else to enter. It's how we hold sorrow and joy in the same breath. Many of us carry regrets about what we've lost: time, health, loved ones, chances not taken. And yet, even in that loss, there are glimmers of grace. The sound of rain while you sit by the window. A memory that still makes you smile. A friend who calls at just the right moment. Gratitude isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It's the quiet voice that whispers, this moment is enough. So today, what if you didn't chase more? What if you simply looked around and noticed what has already arrived? If this message gently shifts something in your heart, if it helps you breathe a little deeper, or see the day with softer eyes, feel free to leave a like, or share it with someone who might be searching for that same light. You don't have to wait for happiness. Sometimes, it's already here, waiting for you to thank it. Buddhist Principle 7, Right Speech, speaking from the heart with wisdom and kindness. Have you ever said something you instantly wished you could take back? Or been hurt by words that were small, but stayed in your heart for years? Words are light. Words are knives. They can build a bridge, or burn one down. And yet, most days, we speak without truly noticing what we're offering to the world. Buddhism teaches us about right speech, one of the key steps on the Noble Eightfold Path. But this isn't about being perfect. It's not about talking less or sounding wise. It's about pausing long enough to ask, is this true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? In a world where conversation often feels loud, fast, and sharp, right speech is a radical act of gentleness. There's an old saying, speak only if your words are more beautiful than silence. But it's hard, isn't it? Especially when we're frustrated, or afraid, or tired. Sometimes, the hardest person to speak kindly to is ourselves. Right speech isn't just about others. It's about the inner voice too, the one that says, you're not enough, you messed it up again, why can't you be better? What would happen if we replaced those words with, I'm learning, I'm trying, I am still worthy? Speech, in Buddhism, is viewed as an action, one that leaves ripples. A kind word can stay with someone for a lifetime. So can a cruel one. But here's the beautiful part. You don't have to be eloquent. You don't have to be poetic. You only have to be present, with your heart and your intention. Speak less if you must. Pause more. Listen deeply. And when you do speak, let it come from that quiet place inside you where truth meets compassion. So today, I invite you. Choose words that heal, not words that harm. Say what matters. Say it gently. And when in doubt, let silence do the talking. If this reflection resonated with you, if it reminded you of something you've long known but maybe forgot, feel free to leave a like, or share it with someone who might need to hear a gentler voice today. In a world filled with noise, let us be the ones who speak peace. Conclusion, returning to peace. As you sit here now, perhaps with a quieter mind, perhaps with a full heart, I invite you to pause, just for a moment more. We've walked through 7 gentle principles today. Not rules. Not commandments. Just timeless reminders from the Buddha's path, reminders that still speak to us, even now, even here. Letting go. Being present. Offering compassion. Accepting change. Walking the middle way. Finding contentment. And speaking with kindness. They are not always easy. But they are simple. And sometimes, the most powerful changes in life begin with something very small. A deeper breath. A softer word. A single moment of awareness where there was once reactivity. You don't need to memorize these teachings. You don't need to be perfect in living them. The truth is, they're already inside you. Because peace isn't something we chase. It's something we uncover, by removing what hides it. So if something in today's video touched you, made you feel less alone, or simply helped you breathe a little easier, I'm grateful we could share this space. If you'd like to help others find this message, a simple like or a quiet share is more than enough. You never know whose heart it might reach. And wherever life takes you next, whether calm or storm, joy or sorrow, may you walk with gentle steps and a peaceful heart. Thank you for being here.